Welcome to MONSTERMEN.
Oh! No arg. I'm owing because this is a bucket list thing for me. We have a sister of slaughter, the great Michelle Garza. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Our connection's good, so everything's great.
Yes, because this time a week ago, we were going to be on the same panel at Scares That Care, talking about our favorite monsters. And the internet decided to just be the biggest monster in your life that day.
It was a total asshole that day.
But see, then we started talking on Twitter. I'm like, come on, MONSTERMEN, let's talk there. So it's awesome that you're here.
Thank you for inviting me on.
By the way, Michelle is half. It's Michelle and Melissa, who are the Sisters of Slaughter, which is the greatest name ever for horror writers.
Thank you.
Oh, when he told me we're having the Sisters of Slaughter on, I like fell off my chair. I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
They're the authors of MAYAN BLUE, Kingdom of Teeth, Those Who Follow, a lot of stories and anthologies. You guys just kill it. You kill it. Yeah. You're great.
We try to slaughter shit.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Can you quickly tell me about Kingdom of Teeth? Because I was going through and reading descriptions, and that was the one that jumped out at me because somebody described it as kind of evil Army of Darkness, like with the Tooth Fairy.
Yep. Yeah, we were trying to think of something to send to Rose at the Eraserhead, and we just so happen to be talking about how we hate the dentist. You know, we're terrified of the dentist and everything. So we're like, we got to think of something to do with this. And we're reading a lot of like Tooth Fairy mythology and stuff. And, you know, the book is actually, it's like Bizarro, but it's like a fairy tale. And it's also got like some kind of goofy humor to it, which I really enjoyed writing because I can write some pretty goofy shit, and me and Melissa go back and forth, you know, and a lot of times we try to keep our books like serious horror or whatever, but that was like a lot of fun. It basically is kind of like Army of Darkness. It's like the world where the Tooth Fairy lives and her people, the Hyperdontians, because they have like a bunch of teeth sticking through their skin. It gets invaded by kind of like a demon that brings like a plague of cavities that starts eating everyone. So, but yeah.
You know, it's perfect.
We have like this guy that dropped out of dental school. He's the hero of the story, and he's kind of a douchebag, but he ends up becoming a hero, and I loved it. I love his writing.
I was just eating a Slim Jim last week, and it pulled a filling out, so I have to go to the dentist. I should read this just before I go.
Oh God.
It's on my Kindle, so I should read it in the waiting room.
Oh, you should, and show it like to everyone, like the front cover of it. Like, hey guys, look at this.
Something tells me there's not going to be a line at the dentist right now with.
Probably not. I have like a chipped tooth in the front. I'm like, oh, I need to get that fixed. And I'm like, in the next 2 years?
I actually went and got my cleaning because the way I was hesitant about it, but then I was like, if we go back down under lockdown, it's going to be a long time. So I was like, screw it, roll the dice and
get it done. Yeah.
I feel bad for the dentist who's just in all those dirty mouths. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I'd be in a hazmat suit with like robot arms going in.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the things that we talked about, I assume your favorite monster is werewolves.
It is.
And you said you could talk for days on this. So we're going to hold you to it.
Okay, let's do this.
This is a marathon session.
Okay. I'm like, wait a second, guys. Let me get something to drink.
So do you have a werewolf book?
Actually, we've written a lot of short stories with werewolves, but we don't have a novel or a novella yet dedicated specifically to the werewolf, which I've explained to people a few times before is like, I don't know, when you love something so much, you're so afraid to touch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it probably sounds weird, probably, to most people, but maybe not, our horror weird like you guys. But werewolves, ever since I was a little kid, I can remember just loving werewolves. We used to have our Barbies and stuff, and our cats. We would put doll clothes on our cats and pretend that they were werewolves attacking our Barbies and just weird shit. So it's like this has been going on like my whole life.
You would have got along well with little us.
Yes.
I used to have a toy box, and I would have like my action figures and Planet of the Apes and everything I had, and I'd have these battles, and I'd use red Play-Doh as blood, and there was like blood on everything. It dripped off the edge of the toy box.
Excellent.
I should have been medicated, I'm sure.
I'll tell you what, I was a really little kid, and me and some of my friends in the neighborhood, we did for Halloween, Dracula, a mummy, a ghost, and a werewolf. And I was the youngest, and I was the werewolf. I just had like a cool store mask on, but I had a wig, and it got like claws and stuff, and ripped up clothes. And I was such a perfectionist. I was like, oh, I hope it's a full moon tonight. And it was.
Oh, lucky.
That was like so great.
So you had the perfect costume then out of everybody, because you'd be like, see the moon, bitches?
Yeah.
I'm fucking werewolf.
My friend who was several years older than me, though, he did a mummy where he individually wrapped like bandages around him. So he was like 5 years older than me, so he was much more advanced. But we all looked great. But
by the way, that's the first night Jack grew a pubic hair, so I think it worked. One little boing came out.
Definitely a metaphor for puberty.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, I think so, and I think as a girl too, like I really related to the werewolf a lot, especially when I started my period, because it's like, okay, the monthly cycle begins. I'm going to turn into a monster, and I'm going to want to kill all of you.
Okay, so that would lead us to the obvious first movie to talk about. That would be the Ginger Snaps movies.
Yeah, I love that one. I remember when I saw that one, I was like so like relieved. I was like, oh my God, thank God. It's like a kick-ass girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is badass. You know what I mean? And the werewolf design was a little different than a lot of werewolves, you've seen in other movies and stuff. So I was like, wow, this is badass.
That's such a cool movie. I actually just bought it for my niece who just turned 14 and is getting into horror.
Cool. Yeah, I think that'd be a great one for her.
That and The Craft.
The Craft.
That's your start. You can be a wolf or a witch. Have fun.
Yeah. I think Ginger Snaps does what a lot of the good werewolf movies do is they have good characters, so that if all you were banking on is special effects, you're probably not going to do well. But if when we get to the classics, it's like you care more about the characters, and that one certainly does.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's I think that's one of the things too. When I was a little kid, I can remember being like, probably like 5 or 6 years old. My mom always watched the Universal horror movies. So she let us watch the Wolfman, and it scared me, but at the same time, I felt so sorry for him. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, he's so sad in that movie.
He's so sad, and it was like almost made me cry when I was a little kid. But I think that might have been like my first, like, I don't know, like connection or attachment, I guess you'd say, to like a werewolf. We've always like loved monsters when we were little kids and stuff. It's weird, like some kids get into like astronauts or, dinosaurs, whatever. Like we just always loved Halloween and monsters and stuff. So then we just got attached to the werewolves, though. It was just, we loved them.
Have you seen Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein?
Yes, I have.
That's one of my favorite werewolf movies.
Yeah. My big brother, he wanted us to watch that one when we were little kids too, because my mom really got us into horror. I think I attribute it to her because she always watched all the old black and white movies and then all the way on up. She was a fan of Just Before Dawn and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We were allowed to watch anything, but if like boobs came on or like serious sex scenes, then we had to just cover our eyes. But we were allowed to watch people get their guts ripped out and shit. So
yeah, it's weird. It's funny because usually it's the dads who get the kids into it. And I read somewhere where you said your mom didn't. I thought that's an awesome, awesome mom.
Yeah, and we would always tell ghost stories and stuff, and she was big time, when Halloween came, especially when we were little kids and stuff in the 80s and stuff, there wasn't as many like elaborate costumes you could buy in a store, and we
Oh.
didn't have a lot of money either, so it's like she made them for us, and that was another thing that was just fun, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're a zombie. Okay, guess what? You get to go roll around in the yard and get kind of dirty. Let's make fake blood. We always made ours out of Karo syrup, red food coloring, and a little bit of chocolate Hershey's
Oh,
syrup.
wow, really?
A little bit darker, yeah. Because sometimes when you make it with the Karo syrup and the red food coloring, it looks too light.
Right.
So if you add a little bit of like the chocolate syrup, then it makes it kind of more like real blood.
See,
And delicious.
That's a sister of slaughter tip for you right there.
Just for me. There you go, kiddos. Knock yourself out.
See, with Jack and I in the 70s, I don't know if you had, because you grew up in Arizona, right?
Yes.
I don't know. Did you ever have Woolworth department stores in Arizona?
No.
It was a big thing here, and it was a place where you could get like anything, including buy hamsters, a snake, get your costumes. They usually had like a food counter. You get like hot dogs. It was weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Albums, clothes.
Damn.
Sewing supplies.
Sounds like utopia.
They used to have like shelves of just like prepackaged costumes. So it was like this hard plastic mask, just one side, and then this plastic drop cloth that you put over yourself.
Yeah, so if you were Spider-Man, it was Spider-Man's. If you were Spider-Man, it was Spider-Man's face, and then it was a picture of Spider-Man. Like, so you're like, you get it, and you'd be like, that's not what Spider-Man's costume looks like.
Fuck.
That is so true. Oh my
Spider-Man
God.
don't look like that.
And then some of them would have like a approximation of the costume.
That's funny.
But now, like when Hunter and I like go to a store, we see like a movie authentic Wolverine costume with retractable claws. We're like, okay, kids are just spoiled now.
You're spoiled, yeah, totally. When my son was little, he was like a year and a half, I think. I made him a werewolf costume too. I made him one, so he was toddling around, barely walking, and he had like a little hairy chest, and I even took socks and I sewed like the fur over the top of the socks and made little toenails on the end of it. So he had wolf feet. I still have the costume. My husband was like, "What's that? Oh my God." I'm like, I learned this from my mom. She taught me how to make like any kind of shit,
That's awesome. Oh my God. I wasn't allowed to do that with my daughters.
Oh, my kids, they get kind of annoyed at me on Halloween. But let's do it. Let's make your costume. And, I'm sad to say, I think my youngest is like, he's just not into Halloween as much as I am. And I think I'm annoying him sometimes.
Yeah, that's all right. Just keep working on him.
Right now. He's looking at me.
Huh.
What?
See, my youngest, she just turned 21, and what she'll do on Halloween, she does latex make effects.
Oh, wow.
So she did one year, she did like, the smile that's all ripped open, everything's hanging off your flesh. She'll do throat wounds, but she'll sit on the front porch, and if kids want to like do a zombie bite, she'll carefully do a zombie bite. Like she'll do it all night long.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's the coolest.
Yeah, she's got some skills.
Thing. Holy shit, that's rad. I wish we had her in our neighborhood when we were little kids, man.
I'll send her. Come on to our neighborhood. It's a big party, man.
We will.
We give out at least 600. We get at least 600 to 700 kids a night.
Wow. See, growing up in Arizona, where I live, it's kind of like rural, and the streets were paved until I was 19 years old. So we didn't have any street lights. We would get like one brave kid walking up to our door on Halloween every year. Like nobody would ever come to our fucking house. We would have to go to other neighborhoods because
take the candy.
There's no kids, there's no children, there's no fun. Let's go somewhere else, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of neighborhoods are like that. You have to find it. Luckily, it found us, but most neighborhoods in this area are kind of boring.
I don't know. It's a far cry. With the old days, we would go so far away from our house and we just cover so much ground with no parent with us. and all that. And now
Who
it's
the fuck
like,
cares? Goodbye, kids.
yeah, like see you later.
Get out of here.
See you at
When
9.
you get back, I get half your candy when you get back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And if you see a stranger, just make sure he gives you something.
Speak to them and make sure they give you some candy.
It's no danger in strangers. It's Halloween.
Sometimes keep it in their van and you have to ask.
I had to get 7 things from different pockets.
So, what are some of your favorite werewolf movies? I think I know where this is going because I feel like there's a pinnacle werewolf movie out there.
The Howling, American Werewolf in London, Curse of the Werewolf, the original Wolfman. Let's see, Ginger Snaps, Dog Soldiers.
Oh, Dog Soldiers is so good.
That was probably one of my favorites of all time, actually, Dog Soldiers. I don't want to like trample on the greats, you know what I mean? But
well, that's a good one to mix it up a little bit because it's like there's so few and far between good werewolf movies. So when you get to that one, you're like, oh, this is fun. It's a different twist, and they just amp it up so much in that movie.
Did you guys watch Late Phases? That was a good one too.
Yeah,
Blind.
we did.
That's a fun one.
That's the one with Ethan Embry, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the werewolves has really long ears.
Yeah, super, almost like a cat ear or something. I was like, ooh, okay.
Now, you say you like The Howling. Have you watched all of them?
I have in the past, but yeah, as far as going into the like marsupials and stuff, I wasn't like the hugest fan. I would say like the first 2 were good, but
our friend Jason, didn't he? Which one did he say his worst movie ever made? Was it 6?
6 or 7?
I have not seen that far. I will say I think I've seen up to like 3 or 4.
Oh, there's a whole lot.
Look, the second one is insane with Christopher Lee and Sybil Danning.
Yes.
I mean, I think Christopher Lee apologized to the filmmaker or somebody. He was just like,
oh my God. Okay, so like I gotta make it clear though, guys, like ever since I was young, we always watch everything with our mom. So we had like different standards of horror. It was either good, as in it's an actual good scary movie, or it was good because you laughed your ass off the whole fucking time while you were watching it and basically did like Mystery Science Theater 3000. So is it on the Mystery Science Theater 3000 level?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yes. You have to when you're reviewing a horror movie for especially other horror fans, there's that kind of like, no, this is like Hereditary. This is like a legit awesome movie. But then there's like Howling 2. Yeah, this movie's horrible, but you have to watch it.
Yeah. You have to see it though. Yeah. Oh, I know. I saw my husband seeing the Christopher Lee. He's like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah.
And you realize Christopher Lee in between takes is in his trailer listening like Black Sabbath and Metallica.
Yes, he's like totally metal. He's in there trying to some heavy metal in his trailer, and he's like, what did I sign up for? Fuck.
And then telling lies about hunting Nazis in World War II.
The first Howling and American Werewolf in London were being made like at the same time, and I think John Landis took Rick Baker from
The Howling.
And so I think American Werewolf in London is the best werewolf movie, bar none. And
it has everything. It has literally everything you could have in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And The Howling has a few really goofy moments to it. That American Werewolf, like that animated scene after when they make love by the fire.
Oh yeah. What's going on?
But The Howling also was really sad in the end because when Dee Wallace is turning and she's crying.
She makes the most beautiful werewolf, and that is very sad. And I have a woman crush on Dee Wallace because of that movie. So
she's great. They're both great movies, but American Werewolf in London. It's funny because I would say I like vampires more than werewolves, but I like American Werewolf in London better than any like vampire movie. Like it's in my top 5 Like a
Yeah.
vampire movie doesn't make my top 10 list till later in the list than American Werewolf in London. Like
Right.
I just think it's one of the top 2 or 3 on my all-time list.
Yeah, American Werewolf in London is definitely. I probably own more shirts and stuff from that one too. And
I got one hanging
yeah,
up back there.
yeah.
I should start calling you
Oh.
Meatloaf, Jack.
I'm sorry I called you Meatloaf.
I don't know why I haven't been doing this for the last 18
Oh,
years.
come on, you missed the opportunity.
Well, we're not dead yet, so I can start.
You can
Hi,
still.
Hunter.
Take it away, Meatloaf. By the way, I want to ask you, did you see, and if you did, what did you think of Wolf Cop?
Yes, I have, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. Especially the scene where he starts wolfing in his private area, basically in the bathroom. Remember? Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Thing?
That was nuts.
I'll tell you
I was
what.
like, what?
Until Wolf Cop, I thought the Howling had the best werewolf sex scene, and now Wolf Cop owns that title.
It owns it. It owns it. Blew it out of the water.
Now, the
Yeah, I have a
second
Wolf
so
Cop
good.
shirt too.
And not so much Wolf Cop 2, but Wolf Cop 1.
Wolf Cop 2 was terrible.
I have not seen Wolf Cop 2.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
but how are you going to top Wolf Cop?
I
mean,
That's
seriously.
true.
Let me ask you a question. I have a copy of Curse of the Werewolf that is on my to-do list for like this week or next week. I almost watched it last week. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I don't know how recently you've seen it, but I'm looking for it. That's like the first blonde werewolf.
Yeah, that's exactly. Holy shit. You're like reading my mind. Yeah, the fucking blonde werewolf. First one right there. You know what I'm saying? So
How long has it been since you've seen that? Because I can't remember whether I like that movie or not.
probably been about 2 or 3 years since I watched it. I still love it. I still think it's classic. It has a sadness to it too that, the old school kind of werewolf movies kind of have. It makes you feel sorry.
There's something about Hammer movies for me that even the worst ones, there's a comfort because when I was growing up, I grew up on midnight Hammer movies. So
Yeah.
when I'm watching them, I just get it. Like for me, horror movies was always like in the old days with people like wearing ties and dresses and stuff, and,
Yeah.
and they just believed in where vampires and werewolves. It was just a
Right.
thing for where they lived.
Mhm. Yeah, I love the Hammer movies too.
The good thing about Hammer movies, I can always, if I'm sleeping and I hear the audio, there's a sound production to Hammer movies, especially the way people walk. There's a distinctive footstep to Hammer movies. Like I'll be dead asleep and my wife will have the TV on. I'm going, there's a Hammer movie on right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there they are. There's Christopher Lee. So
yeah, you
I
definitely
also
watch Curse of the Werewolf.
What did you think of the Benicio del Toro version, which I had high hopes for?
I watched it when it came out. Me and my husband went to see it in the movies, and I watched it like a couple weeks ago again because I had bought it on Blu-ray. I thought it was decent. I like Anthony Hopkins and stuff. There's just a little something missing from it, I thought. But it was still better than a lot of the newer werewolf movies.
The transformation when he's in that classroom or whatever is awesome.
Yeah, in like the insane asylum.
Yeah.
The doctors don't believe him. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really good. It was a slick, really cool looking movie. I think something in the story just didn't click. And
it also kind of gets really.
I think Benicio didn't give a shit.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. There was something weird about that.
It gets a little hokey at the end, too. Like the werewolf fight is very CG.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird with Benicio del...
Oh, there you go. You're back.
You froze on us.
Oh, did I freeze?
Totally.
Right, we were right when you were going into Benicio. We're gonna edit it. So
he totally sabotaged that son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's like, did I hear my name being spoken? Someone's talking shit about me. Fuck up their internet.
Let me put down my joint, my tequila, and stop this shit right now.
Oh, but what I was saying is, I don't know if his acting in that, if he was trying to go for the Lawrence Talbot kind of like a softer spoken kind of, I don't know. But that, kind of threw it off for me a little bit, his acting in that.
I don't know if I believed him and Emily Blunt either. I don't know.
No. No, I didn't
Hey.
really believe that much.
I didn't believe in Jim Halpert and Emily Blunt, but now that he's John Krasinski, it's way different. Now it makes sense. But
Now
Jim
it makes
Halpert?
sense.
Now, you said that you're a child of the 80s, so I don't know if he's technically a werewolf. He might be a lynx, but for all intents and purposes, he's a werewolf. What about Thriller?
I'll be honest with you. Okay, I'm not like a huge Michael Jackson fan, but when I saw that video when I was a kid, it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was scared of it. And, you know, at the beginning, is it Vincent Price is talking?
Yeah.
And it's like shows like kind of like goes through like a cemetery. That scared me because I'm going to tell you guys, ever since I was a little kid, the thing that scared me the most ever was a zombie. Because to me, it was so frightening to be eaten alive by something, by a dead guy. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I get that totally.
That when I was a little kid, though, like I wouldn't watch shit with a zombie in it, man. I would watch something with a werewolf. I would watch something with a vampire. But if it had a zombie, I'd be like, I don't know about that.
I think maybe because we're a little older than you, I've never been scared by a zombie. Whereas when I was a kid, vampires, ghosts, werewolves could scare me. But I don't think zombies really entered my consciousness till I was like in high school.
Oh, till you're old enough to not be scared.
Yeah. So whereas when I was a little kid, if I saw a ghost or a vampire thing, I was like going to bed with rosary beads or something, you know.
Like, where's the garlic?
Yeah. It's funny. When I was a kid, I wasn't scared of any monsters at all. I could watch The Exorcist. At 4 years old, you could put me in front of The Exorcist and be fine.
Oh, wow.
I was scared of real life criminals. So like real crime or thing about house break-ins.
Yeah.
Nope. That was it. That would have me up for weeks. Couldn't do that.
That's understandable.
He grew up in New York City, so.
Yeah, I grew up in the Bronx, so there was a reason to fear that shit.
There's a reason for being afraid of people breaking into your house.
It wasn't so much fantasy.
You.
Now, I have a guilty pleasure, and this could combine both. Like both of you could be my guilty pleasure.
Oh.
Do you like the Underworld movies?
I do. I'm gonna admit it. I do. You know what else I like? And it's a guilty pleasure. I like the fucking Van Helsing movie.
Jack, we're gonna have to disconnect her from this.
Wait, Jack, edit that out. No one else.
I will say this. I write to the soundtrack to that movie.
Oh, okay.
I had such high hopes for that movie, and the guy who plays Dracula in that movie.
Oh God!
Oh God! I want to just hit him with a freaking bat.
You know what? I think that again is that thing where I can like a shitty movie because I'm like kind of laughing at it, like or mimicking, like, oh, did you hear that guy's voice? Sounds like a douchebag. Oh, you see his ponytail? You know what I'm saying? Like that's probably more the way I like it than it's like an actually a good movie like it. But yeah.
See, when it comes to Underworld movies, whenever I get like the flu, that's my excuse to just watch all of them while I'm laying in bed for a day. It's so weird. And I'm so sick of the color blue by the time it's over.
Oh, yeah.
The bluest damn movies ever made.
Yeah, it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I never really cared. I saw like one or two of them, and it was just once you made vampires and werewolves into action figures instead of horror figures, I was kind of like, whatever.
It's funny. I've watched the whole series like 3 times. I still don't know what it's about. It just always devolves into me just waiting for like action, some blood, and what's Kate Beckinsale wearing at this point?
Yeah.
Like,
well, hey,
and there's the common thread.
So.
There's the common thread between Van Helsing and Underworld is Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. There we go.
Oh, bingo! That's the reason why. So I'm like, wow.
She's the queen of the werewolves.
That's a nice corset.
Every time I watch her notes, I'm like, she must not have eaten the entire time they made these movies.
How about Silver Bullet with Gary Busey? And,
oh God, that's a classic.
That's great.
You guys are gonna hate me, but I fucking love that movie, man.
Oh no, I love that movie too.
Oh man, when it was just on, was it 4th of July? I think everyone was shooting
really?
off their fireworks, and I was like, oh, let's go shoot a werewolf in the eye with some fireworks. And my kids were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh my God.
Why'd you bring her here?
I know. Oh, wow, you're a nerd. Shut up, Mom.
Say, no, I'm a Bram Stoker nominated author of horror.
God damn
I recently heard a podcast where they just watched that movie, and I believe somebody said that the priest guy who played the priest actually played got in the suit and did the werewolf stuff because he wanted to be really authentic.
Whoa!
Like you don't have to do this. We can get somebody else. He's like, no, I want to do it. So
he's like, fuck that, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I think that was the same guy from Children Under the Stairs, right?
Oh, I think you're right.
I think is the daddy or whatever, running around shooting a fucking shotgun, trying to kill those kids and shit.
That's a wackadoo of a movie.
Yes, it is.
Talk about a movie I knew nothing about going into it and not getting anything near what I expected. I was like,
right.
What the hell is this movie?
What am I watching right now?
I don't think they'd make that now. In this day and age, that movie's not getting made.
No.
So if you had to pick one werewolf to bite you and turn you, which one would it be? Think somebody sexy.
I'm gonna go with the ginger snaps werewolf because that American Mary girl is I got a little crush on her. So
I thought you were gonna say Jack Nicholson.
He's
God.
Ooh. That feels good. I think I would have went with The Curse of the Werewolf because Oliver Reed.
Oh, Oliver Reed. Good call.
Rest in peace, but back in the day.
Yeah.
And in Gladiator, he was still hot.
Oh, yeah. I'd agree with that. I'm like, I'd hit that.
Yeah. I'm like, when I'm like 60-some years old, drinking heavy for about 40 years, I still want to look that good.
Hunter, I think you'd probably choose Sybil Danning from Howling 2.
Oh, yes.
I think that's it. Although we did meet her. She was at a horror convention that we went to, Chiller in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
She was dressed as a full-on Nazi.
What?
Yeah, she had a full-on Nazi uniform. And she's like 8 feet tall and blonde and Aryan. And I was like, this is a weird freaking thing you're doing right here. But
yeah. Oh, yeah.
People were lining up. Didn't she do some? She must have done some Nazi movie. I hope this wasn't just something.
I hope to God, yeah, because that's not cool, man.
This was in my father's belongings, and I thought I should grab it today.
This was in my father's belongings.
I'd like an autograph. Where are your papers? So it's like I entertained. I was like, oh, I would love to, because I used to have a Sybil Danning poster in this very room when it was my room, and I was like, no. It just seems weird.
Don't think so.
Well, also, this is like much older Sybil Danning than Howling era.
True. I think I would choose Dee Wallace.
Yeah.
Yes, Dee Wallace.
She seemed like a nice werewolf.
I've hung out with her at a bar, and she's awesome.
She's got that cute little nose.
That wet little sniffling nose.
Oh, little sniffling nose. She'd probably be very gentle with you. She probably wouldn't carry the face off or anything.
Teen Wolf
the ones you think were then they're not.
Does Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2 count? Werewolf movies?
Yeah, it counts. I mean, I see that, it's kind of like a comedy kind of thing. I like those. I like the first one more, but yeah. Especially
kind of follow in they follow in the I was a teenage werewolf path.
Oh, yeah. Michael Landon, yeah. I like that one. Oh, God, what was it? Did you guys ever watch Transylvania 65000?
A billion years ago.
That movie. But he's supposed to be the werewolf, but I think he just has like that hair condition where he's like super hairy, not actually a werewolf, and they're talking about the doctor helping him out, and he's like, look, I can go to the beach now, and he like lifts up his shirt and it's just like one circle of no hair and like everything else is hairy.
Oh God, kind of looks like my Greek ice cream man.
Jeff Goldblum's in that, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
How about
Gina Davis too, I think.
Oh, back when they were a thing.
like Earth Girls Are Easy era.
Yeah.
How about What We Do in the Shadows, where they're not just they're werewolves, not swearwolves.
I loved that. I loved that. I loved that part. I was like, holy shit! And I actually watched the What We Do in the Shadows on Hulu, the
TV
show too. And it was so funny because the werewolves and the vampires were gonna fight on like this rooftop or some shit, and like, of course they trick the werewolf by like throwing a dog toy off the roof and he goes for it, and I'm like just laughing my ass off because I'm like, this is so funny. My kids are like, you're so fucking stupid, Mom. I'm like, I find this hilarious. I'm sorry.
Wait, you know what, Jack? We're missing the biggest one of all, Twilight.
Oh
God.
I have never seen
Perfect
any
reaction.
of those movies.
Are you Team Edward or Team, what's the other guy's name?
And you know, the pictures that I seen of that movie, the wolves are just like straight up wolves, right? They're not like a monster wolf. Yeah, well, fuck that shit.
The only thing I will give that whole Megillah, those books got my daughter when she was young to start really reading.
You know, and if it was a gateway to some younger kids even getting into horror, I say go for it. You know, I used the fucking Goosebump books when I was a little kid. That was my gateway to horror.
Those things are awesome.
The Goosebumps, man. So if whatever it takes for kids, you know, if they like that, then I'm all for it. Go for it.
My gateway to reading horror was Stephen King. It just went from 0 to 1,000.
0 to 100.
It's like, oh, my father, like, here's Night Shift. Enjoy.
There you go. What is this?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I read Dracula
from that.
I read Dracula when I was really young, and that didn't scare me because it was too difficult for a kid to read. That I was like, what the hell is this? Then I read Pet Sematary, and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, I do like this. Yeah. When we were little kids, you know, we read all the Goosebump books and stuff, and then we'd be at the store, and our mom, she bought us Dracula and Frankenstein. But I agree with you. I think I was like 11 or something, and I just could not. Dracula was just like, it was too complicated for my brain.
I still don't like reading Dracula. I'm 52, and it's still not. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Frankenstein too.
Yeah. And then after that, like after we read like all the Goosebump books, of course there's like the Fear Street books, and then we got into like reading Stephen King and stuff. I remember going to junior high. We were like 13, and in the library they had a small Stephen King section, but your mother had to send a permission slip for you to take them home.
Wow.
And our mom was cool and sent the permission slip.
Nice.
So we were able to read some of them.
Good.
And then beyond that, we would go, we would walk from our junior high to the library, the city library down the street, and, you know, read whatever we wanted, check out anything we wanted. And we got into reading stuff, even like the Montague Summers, like The Werewolf, about how, you know, this supposed, I don't want to say real cases, you know, because that's almost like saying like back in the day, the witchcraft trials were real witchcraft.
Wait,
but
they
you
weren't?
know, it's, I'm sorry to tell you that.
Oh, crap. My whole world is rocked.
Oh, what the fuck did you just say, Michelle?
Did you see Hocus Pocus? Come on.
Yes.
Mucka.
I tried to get my son to watch Hocus Pocus when he was younger. He would probably watch it now, but he was scared of it. I'm like, you're scared of this? Oh my God.
There's some scary scenes in that for a kid.
Yeah, and he wouldn't watch Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. He wouldn't watch that one either. I was like, what? Okay, kid, are you my son?
That's all right. My kids wouldn't watch any of that stuff, and now they will watch a person eviscerate another one in front of them and not blink.
Yeah, my older son, he's 14, or he's going to be 14. And now it's like he'll be like, he watched Aliens, Predator, like every effing thing. But when he was a little kid, yeah, he wouldn't watch certain Scooby-Doo episodes because he was totally freaked out. I was like, whoa.
That's fine. It's all good. tenderizes them
Yes.
for when the real shit comes along. It's all fine.
Right. So, what should we be looking out for from the Sisters of Slaughter? What's the latest book and anything coming up?
Well, our latest stuff. Well, we had like a short story in the Both Sides. It's the Border anthology that was put out by Polis Books and edited by Gabino Iglesias.
That guy?
But before, oh yeah, that dude.
Yeah, I know that guy. He's all right.
He's a cool guy. Before that, I mean, last year we put out Tapetum Lucidum. That's a straight up novel, monsters attack a small town type of thing. And we also put out a novella called Isolation, which is kind of more of like a gothic horror, I guess you'd say. Lady inherits a house and it's haunted kind of thing. So
nice. I hope to inherit a haunted house.
And we're working on a few other short stories, and we're hammering away at a couple novels. But since the coronavirus thing happened, like we weren't like at each other's houses for like 2 months because the way I was working and she was working, she was like in contact with a lot more people. So we were kind of just trying to like stay away from each other, and we're just passing stuff back and forth through email. So we're trying to get back on that, the novel thing.
Yeah, please do. There's a lot of hungry readers who need more.
Yes.
Because everyone's going to be trapped in their houses till 2037. So we have to produce content as much as possible.
We better take advantage of this situation now.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, awesome. I can't wait. I love everything you guys do. You're just... You ladies, you guys. I call everyone guys, so don't take offense.
Cool.
I live in a house with 4 women. They're all guys.
It's all good.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to read what's coming up. And everybody, I know you guys, I'm impressed because you don't have a website.
I know. I've been like so lazy. I'm like, I got to get around to that, right?
It's not lazy. It's cool. It's like, oh, fuck it. You want my books? You'll fucking find my books.
Yes.
I love it.
Search for it.
So I know on Twitter we can find you at Fiend Books.
Yes.
And then Facebook too, right? Those are the 2 places where you...
Those are 2 places.
I aspire to be you. Trust me. I want to cut my tether to half the things I'm hooked into. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. And next time, when Melissa can be on, we'll have you both on again.
Yes.
That'll be cool.
We will both back.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Jinx, you owe me a Coke, Jack. We both did the thumbs up awesome. I've been around you too long. I can't quit you.
I wish I could quit you. All right, everybody. We'll see you. Thank you, sister, for joining us, and everybody else.
Thanks,
we'll see you next time on MONSTERMEN.
MONSTERMEN, MONSTERMEN, Jack and Hunter at it again. MONSTERMEN, MONSTERMEN.